Hello and welcome back to on Coireán, my Irish-inspired Engage model railway. Yes, hello everyone, welcome back to on Coireán. Now, as you can see, there's a train running. And it's the one that's going to be put into a CIE livery simply by putting some flying snails on the side of it. And it's pulling some six-wheel coaches, and six-wheel coaches did run on the branch to Coireán, but they weren't painted into the BR crimson red. And I'm not planning on repainting these because I actually did them quite well. They were on my Tomlinson Abbey layout as well with the suburban coaches I repainted. So there they are running around. As you can see, we've got the village laid out roughly how I had it before, except we now have a sort of footprint of the brewery there to sort of give us an idea of where it's going to go. It's ended at that stop now because I can hear myself think. So I'm going to get a pencil. I'm going to mark down roughly where I think things are going to be. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do sort of the back area behind the houses or whatever, and then we're hopefully going to get to gluing some cardboard formers on so you can see the hill then. I've got some tunnel portals to open. I'll probably need to paint and weather them before I fit them to the railway. So let's get cracking and I will find a pencil. Right, so I have a pencil, and as you can see I have roughly got the street in the way that I want it. There's going to be quite a steep hill over there leading up to the castle and the tunnel, because when you actually are going that way out of the village, if you've been past the villa and you're heading up, there is actually quite a steep hill there. So I'm going to have that kind of, and then the castle at the top of that, or on top of the where the tunnel is. There is in the village a little sort of war memorial sort of thing here, and a grotto at that end. I don't know if I'll be able to include those on the railway, but you know, never say never. And I have in my hand some engaged tunnel portals from Pico, so I can open those up now and sort of place them over there. And obviously I will need to build up the land like I did over here, because otherwise trains are going to bash into the top of this and that won't be any good. So over here is roughly where we're probably going to have the tunnel mouth. So about there, but it might be, I think maybe further round, because I kind of want to have the wing walls there. So we'll leave that standing there a second, and you've got these sort of side wings that hold up the land. And if I just focus on that while I'm doing this, because I'll be in the way, it would be like that, I think, which is plenty of space around it. It could even it seems like it's actually quite large amount of space, but you'll see now. So the hill will come down kind of steeply here, and I'm thinking it'll be coming down steeply behind these, so the goods yard area will be below the level of the houses, obviously, and there'll be a kind of a steep down bit there. Well, it won't be that steep because it's engaged or whatever, and like I said, it'll be steep at first, and then this will actually be kind of flat, but it'll still be higher than the level of the goods shed. And then this tunnel portal, I'll probably put somewhere like that. Oh, the other one's fallen over, but you get the idea. So that will be roughly there. It's not going to stay up, but you get the idea. So there'll be a little bit of length in the tunnel just to hide the train for a moment, but I'm going to have these walls set in a way that sort of there you go, that'll hold that up, allow me to have a bit of hill running along the back here, I think, or at least as far as here, coming down, and then you'll have sort of the flat land where the signal box and everything is there. So it all looks like it's all on the one hill coming down, and then I'll just put that out of the way. One of the wing balls has fallen off of the layout already. Yeah. Anyways, that's something that we'll do when we build up the hill or whatever will be those. So while I leave those in the way there, I then turn my attention to the street. So this is roughly how wide I want the street to be. So I'll move the camera so you can see. I want to basically put the buildings, so I can keep the spacing correct on them, onto a strip of card or paper, like I had before. And that will also form, as you can see, there's a bit of it here, a bit of pavement, because it's not going to need to be thick because it's N-gauge. So the road should be wide enough that there's room for a little bit of pavement, and there's room for 2 vehicles, and there is actually space on the road in the village a bit more than that for cars either side. So I don't want to make it look too narrow as well, because I want to be able to see the colours of the buildings a bit, even if you're not necessarily going to get the full view down the street without like bending over and having a look. So my street's going to be about like that wide, and then the pavement's going to be there, and then the buildings will be either side. And then, like I said, I could, in theory, have a wall or something here and have a little war memorial thing, like the Butler's Monument, that's outside of the Butler Arms and across the road from the villa. Normally here in the real village will be the chemist, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this space. I'm going to have a fence come along here, and I'll show you that in a minute, and it's going to go that way. This is all going to be presumably like brewery yard, so like barrels and things. I'm thinking maybe though from about here where the points are, this will be hill again. So you'll have come down that hill a bit, but this will still be kind of a hilly area over here. And then what I have in my spares box, or my box of sort of N-gauge bits that I've taken from other layouts, is some fencing. So I have these little 3-bar fences, and they will go, there'll be a fence, one long fence along the back maybe, and then I have in here sort of short bits, but they'll probably need to be cut in half again, and they'll go between each of the back doors or whatever. So you'll have people have their own yards, and then there'll be like a slightly bigger one out the back maybe of the villa. I don't know if you can get like N-gauge picnic benches, but that would be nice for people to be able to sit outside the back of the villa as they do in real life, although they won't have a nice cover. So if it rains, which it does in Ireland, especially this time of year, because I'm filming this part in October, people will get quite wet. I also have in my box the windows that are missing from the backs of the houses, so they will get painted up and done as well. And then I was thinking on the other side, for a bit of variation, instead of fences, I've got this sort of hedging, and I could add in little bits of like lichen or something to it just to change up the colour, and that would run along the top there, and then the slope will come down to the goods yard level. So that's roughly kind of like there'll be two different styles to the backs of the houses as well, with the hedging and the fencing. So now that I've got that there, and I know roughly that I want that to be there, I'm going to say that like that's going to be the top line of the gardens is going to be here. This will be a bit more flat. There might be a bit more yard behind this building, and that will obviously be flatter because it will be down at the end of the hill, and it'll get steeper presumably as it goes up this way to where the tunnel wing wall is, and then the bottom of the hill will probably be about here, and then that should, I mean, I might need to cut it a bit, it might be a bit steeper there, but that will be the slope there, and then you'll have the goods shed and the goods yard area here. That's goods, just write that there. So I'll put a question mark in that building space there. Now the other area that we have is the station and the brewery. So the station platform, I'm thinking, is going to end about here, and it will probably come out wide at this end because I've got the signal box to put on the end of the platform. I have a kit for a platform that I'm going to be using. It was second hand, but it says it's all there. So I got that on Hattons, and that's the N-gauge stone platform. So that will go along here, and I'll make some sort of steps or ramp out the back, come down. And I want it roughly to be, it doesn't need to be too big, but I want to be able to have like a 3-coach train in it. So you can have 1, 2, 3 Mark 1s in roughly that space. So that will be like the end of the slope there, and then it will be straight from there. And like I said, there'll be steps out the back, and then that will be cutting off then into the goods area. And I could even have more sort of hill there, and I could even have more hill. I just want to make it seem a bit hilly. It might break up the scenery a bit better, but obviously I don't want it to look too unrealistic, as well as saying, oh yeah, there's lots of hills in between all the different pieces of track. So it's finding that right balance, like a work of art. So that's going to be where the platform will be. And then over this side, where I mean, I showed you this before about how the buildings were going to be, but this is a bit better because I have more bits found now. So the brewery, there'll be like, it's going to be there, the station's there. So I have all this space here, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I could make the village green be there, because I could have the road running this way, you see, into the brewery yard, and then the village green could be behind the station, because I kind of envisaged the railway coming along the seafront, because I'm going to have my rocks and things here. So you could have the road going that way. So instead of the Butler Arms being here, it just goes to the goods shed, and then the road will go that way, and this will be the village green, with obviously the road will be here, so there'll be a bit here where the road comes off to the station area, and then it'll just kind of go, there'll be grass and stuff here, and then it'll just be brewery yard from sort of there around, and it'll go there. And I'm going to bring up the level of the sidings with some clay maybe, that will make it nice and what's it called, level. An important word not to forget, level. So that will be where the brewery is, and I could even move the building around or whatever. I could move it over this way, or I can move it that way. Once I see there'll be sort of barrels and things, like I said, in this area. And the engine shed is, it just needs a bit of fixing up, and it'll be fine. A water crane could be put in there. Maybe use my watercolor paints to get rid of this whiteness. And then yeah, and that window I need to put back into that water tower, which I do have. So I'm going to get on with this and just draw a line for the back of the houses and the roads, roughly. And I'll draw on the wing walls once I moved everything else, I suppose, out of the way, and then start building the cardboard area for the tunnel. Now it's important to check clearances, so I'm going to pop that there, and then I'm going to actually maybe move it around. I haven't quite decided where I want the tunnel to be, but I think it's going to be there. That's where I drew a line. So we'll just put that there and see, and then actually it needs to come a bit further like that. So that would be there, and that will be there, hopefully, because if this gets messed up now, it'll be very hard to change, and I can decide on the position of the wing walls afterwards. The other side, I'm going for about there, so we'll pop that back on there, and I'll move my arm out the way, hopefully. So we're looking at about there. That looks all right. There. So that gives us our tunnel there. So that's marked on. So we put the wing wall there. That will allow the hill to come to the end of the goods shed area. The other wall can go something like that. A very narrow strip of hill coming down behind there. And then that's there. And we want that wing to be there. ish. So line that up and go like that. And the other one can go there. And these wings and the bits of hill will actually hide, even if there's only one of these big coaches in the tunnel, the wings should hide it as it's going in and out, and it will make it seem like it's disappearing more. And that will help break up the two scenic areas into sort of station and brewery. And hopefully make it look like the train's going somewhere and not just, you know, round in a circle. So we want to make sure that we've got the right height of cardboard for the hill around the tunnel. Best way to do this is to use a nice bit of card, and I'm going to pop that on there. I want to make sure that the former, when I cut it out, is smaller than the actual plastic piece, but the hole will need to be bigger. So I will need to go like that and cut out all of that, and then cut within this line here, and that will allow me to stick it to the inside edge of this, and that should make it then easier to attach the other pieces of card to the back of that. The wing walls, I'm not 100% sure of needing a backing for that, because there probably isn't going to be too much space anyways, so I'll probably just cut a piece of card to run along the back in the same way. So I'll cut that out and I'll show you what I mean. And here we go. We have the finished piece. And so this can glue with contact adhesive to the back of this, and I can use this as a template to cut the other three. And I say three, even though they've got two tunnel portals, because this piece is a brilliant template for doing the rest of the hill. Because if I've got another one of these that this one that's on here can glue to, it makes it a lot easier. I'll obviously have to build up, like I said, the land around it, but that gives you the sort of the bit you can stick this to, and you can build the rest of the hill around it without actually having to attach this until you're done, so it's not going to get all gluey. And that will allow me to weather this up a bit and make it a bit more realistic and less plasticky. So I'm going to cut out a few more of those now. So right now the card that I've cut out for building up the ground level is drying. It's gluing in place with some more of this Bostik stuff. So then the next stage will be to put the formers on for, so these are the ones that I cut to be part of the hill itself, and they'll go on behind there when I've remarked out exactly where the tunnel mouths are going to go. There are lots of, however, scrap pieces of card. This is quite handy because they can just be used, you know, glued to the back of pieces like this to help give it some strength. I don't want to have too much space in the tunnel for stock to fall about, because it will be harder to retrieve. But I also don't want there to be too little room, because otherwise I won't be able to reach in and get them. I'll have to get some sort of long, thin tweezers or tongs or something, because it's going to be quite difficult otherwise. I could leave a hole, perhaps, somewhere around here, and a gap somewhere around here in, because obviously I'm going to have card running along the back here to hold up the hill and give it some strength. But obviously I need to be able to get in if rolling stock falls off in the tunnel, which it probably inevitably will at some point in its life. So I have to design that into the hill to make sure that I can retrieve it. It's all common sense stuff, really. Most of you probably already know it. So I'm just waiting for that glue to dry, and then I'm going to start with these and build up the hill. So I'm just about to glue these card formers in place, and I'm just using this glue engine now to test, and the coaches go through fine. So we'll just try that one more time. Right, so all being well, these should be able to be glued in place, and then I shan't have any trouble with those. And then I can start building up the rest of the hill. The card formers are now stuck in place, so that gives us the basis for the entrance and exit of our tunnel. And then while that was gluing, I put together a corner piece with a hole cut out of it for reaching in to get trains. So hopefully I'll be able to keep that area at least a little bit clear. And this is going to fit into the corner, and I'm going to hot glue that in place, and it's going to join up to these cardboard pieces down here. And then I have a profile of the road cut out of some cardboard there, so that's actually going to sit about there. So I'll stick that down there. And then I have also got, and I know that my shadow is getting in the way, it's rather dark outside. There, I've got my hot glue gun there, just warming up. I have taken the street and I've just created a rough sort of base plate for it that's going to glue, and then I'll be able to work on top of that. But it gives me the right gradient. So I'm going to have one piece of card underneath this end, then two, and then this piece will be upright, and then I have another couple of formers that will take the road up, and the rest at the top of the village will be sort of hills and stuff going up to the tunnel portals. So I'm popping that over onto Beaglington-On-Sea for now, out of the way, and when this glue is warmed up, we'll be able to glue the corner and the former and this piece of card, hopefully. I won't glue the far ends down because I need to trim them, I'd say, but that's what we're going to do next. The glue appears to be hot now, so I'm going to very carefully run the glue along the edge of here, and then we pop it down onto the back of the railway. So that piece there, it's drying already. There we go. It doesn't matter if it's too rough because it'll be covered up anyways. That's at the back of there. So now I just take the glue gun and I'll just squeeze a bit more glue onto there. So my other glue stick gone. Here it is. Just glue it all the way along there, and hopefully, if I move that out, I won't be gluing it to the wall. There we should have a nice hot glue setting, and I suppose while I've got the glue in the gun, I will now put some on my former. And there we go. That is that. And then I did actually go and trim down this number 4 piece, as I call it, because that's the number I've given it. And I'm going to go and put some glue onto that. And that's going to go about there. Perfect. Right. While that glue sets, I'm going to unplug that, and I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. Yes, right, while I'm getting on with building the railway, we're here on another beautifully sunny day on the green. Off there in the horizon you can't see, there is a fishing boat, the Theresa May. There are cars driving around because it's now the season, and the grass is finally growing because the sun's come out, and the bay is once again like a mill pond, so it's very lovely. And I suppose in this segment we've got time to go and have a look at some of the little statues and things around the village. So I'll go and take you around those and we'll have a quick look. And I won't go into too much about them because obviously if you come and visit you can find out for yourself. So we're going to go for a little walk and we're going to find some stuff. Rather, I'm going to go for a walk and show you it. So let's get cracking. So over there we have O'Dwyer, the Villa pub, and over here we have the man himself, sort of. Yes, as you can see, I've submitted to the likeness of O'Dwyer. This is an Alan Ryan Hall sculpture from 2012 in this sort of area which basically commemorates his sporting achievements, and the ball is actually quite shiny where people come and hold on to it. This is the GAA ball. So yeah, it's a life-size thing. It's got pretty realistic eyes as well. So you can come and have a photo with this.
So a long while before I came to Waterville, a Millennium Time capsule was buried on July 10th, 1999. Unfortunately, it wasn't resurrected in 2020, by the looks of things, probably due to the pandemic. So who knows? Will it ever be opened?
Now, I mentioned previously in the video about the Butler Arms that Charlie Chaplin came here, and he's been immortalised in the sculpture which was erected in 1998. There's a little part before we skip on to the next part. Yeah, there's another one.
So this basically just gives you a bit more information about it, and this was also sculpted by Alan Reinhall. So whether he'll have another one of these people statues on the seafront one day, who knows? I think he lives in Valencia, but I'm not sure.
Right, well, this sculpture behind me is known as the Artful Vessel, and it's supposed to symbolise things like the arrival of the Gaelic language and a ship coming out of the water. And you'll see it better when I go up there. It's also a sundial, but it only works in winter time. So it's an hour out.
This is just a little description. You can pause and read it if you want. See, it's actually 9:55, but it's only just coming up to 9 o'clock on the sundial, because over there is number 10. So yeah, it sort of works. And you can see long shadows cast. You can see my shadow as well. So that aspect of it is quite cool. And it's got like a really sort of shiny tip at the top of it. And I think that is the artist, Holger C. Lons, 2018. And that is the Irish, I think, for the name of the sculpture. It does look pretty impressive on a nice clear day like today.
Now, this rather cool monument, erected in 1898 by the looks of things, is to Dr. Mellerin, who for years worked among the people of this district as their doctor and their nurse. It's a very nice sculpture, very simple but very cool. It's got crafts for sort of ivy and things growing up it, and it's got this nice bench that they've put in so you can sit here and you can sit on the other side across the bay. So this is actually one of a pretty cool little memorial thing we have here. And it's just in a nice green space as well. My kids have run around on this green space before. There's a couple of benches over there. But yeah, a fine view behind it. It's not going anywhere, and I can now start to build up the inside of it and the path down to the road. So the number 4 former is there. I have the number 3 here and the number 2 here, so they will go there and there, and that will help build up the road to the hill. So I'm going to get on and glue those. we have the road going up and over the top of the hill. So now we're going to fill in a bit more of the hill. I won't attach the road part, this board, until I've had a chance to trim a little bit down the side, a little bit on the corner here, and get the corner done. I need to add some support to the hill because obviously the castle is going to be somewhere around here, but I've also got to have space to get in. So I've got a piece of card with a notch cut out of it that's going to fit onto that little bit of card there. So the first thing I'll do is run some glue onto this part, and then some on the bottom like that to hold it in place. I should be able to just slot it onto this piece of card here, and that will help hold that up. That will go about there. Get it really squashed in there, and add a bit of glue either side there, and give it a bit of a wiggle, get it into the glue on both sides, and that will set. And then I can trim that card to be more in line with the profile of the ground there when I know exactly where I'm going to sit the castle, which could be there anyways. So I can just lower it down just a smidge and then have a flat area there. The road is going to curve up and away this way past the castle, so I'll probably have it sat about here. So it's really going to be difficult trying to judge how to get my hand in. I've laid out now some formers for underneath the street at this end, so it doesn't hopefully dip down too much. I've started making the support for the road, which this is the piece of road basically that's going to attach to there. And then I've got this piece here, which is simply just going to be up there as a support for the roof where the castle's going to go. And then I can run some more bits across from this side over the top, get that built up so there's enough card there that's going to hold up the weight of this because it is heavy, and then that should be done. So at the back here, I've just added some formers and I've used a sort of notch to put it in there to hold up this piece. And I'm going to glue that there. That's the base of where the castle will now go, like that. And so when I cover it in paper mache or newspaper and PVA, I'll know exactly where the flat bit is, where that's going to go. And when I do the scenic treatment around it, the grass and stuff, that'll come up behind it and around it because it's going to be overgrown. You'll know, I will know that's that flat bit where the castle's going to go. So I'm just going to fill in a bit more of this here and attach this piece of card. And then that's pretty much it for the tunnel. I can go glue down the street.
So there's a little detail I want to add, because you'll be able to see this side of the tunnel if you're viewing it from how I'm viewing it. It's just a little bit of old reused plasticard walling with a bit of ballast and a bit of paint on it, and I'm just using my contact adhesive to fit that inside the tunnel. And I will get it stood up. I'll add a bit of hot glue to the back of it or something, but it will just make it look better, because if I bring that back out there and I pop the tunnel portal in there, you see it just looks that much better. And obviously the tunnel portal won't be on the front until I've painted it up, so I'll be able to, like, I don't know, chuck some ballast or some dark paint in there. But yeah, that's just what I'm going to have there, and I'm going to glue that in, and it's a job out of the way now before I put the whole top on, so that's good. And there we have it, the wall inside the tunnel, which looks a lot better than it did before when it was just random bits of cardboard inside. And now we're ready to do probably the most complicated part of this. Not even the tunnel was that complicated, is to get all of this glued and in the right position before the hot glue sets, which is going to be a challenge. Grab another glue stick, because it's such a large flat piece. So I want to get all these supports covered in the hot glue, and then this section here is going to be glued as well. Come on. And this section here. Right, we'll stick the top end first, hopefully. It should run along the top there. Bits of cardboard escaped under there. Well, that can all be squashed down there. It's all going to get covered over anyways. Right. So now, should be able to put the buildings back on the railway where they will go. Move that bit stringy glue out of the way. So we've got those and the butchers at the top. And move them into the right positions once we get the other side of the street. There, that, there. So they're up there somewhere. They line up with their yards and things. So that one went there, and I don't know if my head's getting in the way or anything, but that goes there. That goes there, in the corner of the street there. I wanted those to have a nice rear yard space as well. So that's them there, and they are there. So we need to go one pavement, one road. So they are back a little bit, and they are going up there. I'll have to fix them down, obviously, but they don't look like they're going to be too much off the ground, like, so that should do. And then, like I said, I'm going to have the fencing there or whatever, and a bit of a rear yard to the pub there, hilly bit here, brewery yard, and ending about there, and then some gardens behind these before the hilly bit, and then the road comes this way along here. We have the green here, and the road going that way past the station to the goods yard. So the vehicles can now pass down the street of Waterville. Whoa, it's a bit icy there, it's getting all over the place. Yeah, here we go. There's the bus. Well, that is that.
afraid that's all we've got time for on this episode of Coireán. But as you can see now, the hill has started to take much more shape. The castle can be seen where it's going to be now at last. The tunnel mouths are pretty much where they're going to be. The street looks a lot better because you can see what I meant about the hill. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it's going. I hope you are too. And I'm looking forward to getting some newspaper and stuff up on that hill to make it one whole unit that I'm not going to break. And then do some more of the landscaping. And I need to get some stones and some sand at some point for doing the beach run there. And of course, at some point I'll have to build a brewery and fix up my buildings. But for now, I think I've made a good amount of progress compared to previous episodes. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for everyone who continues to watch, who continues to subscribe, like my videos, as a fly. It's very nice for you to, be there watching my videos. Let me know that people do actually find this interesting other than myself. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, there's also the subscribe bubble if you haven't already subscribed, and the playlist thing as well. But until next time, I'm off. Thanks. Ta-ra.